Hi, I'm Ivan from Loquiz, and I will show you how to set up ticketing automation without writing a single line of code. If you're beginning to sell city tour tickets but find it time-consuming to send them manually, and you don't want to invest in a developer, then you're watching the right video. Our plan for today is as follows. Introduction: we'll discuss why the no-code approach is interesting here. Next, we'll set up each tool for your automation. Once the automation is set up, we'll test it. Following that, I'll show you a few other platforms for selling your tickets. And finally, the conclusion. So, let's begin with the introduction. How do we define automation? Here's a definition from the Cambridge Dictionary. The use of machines and computers that can operate without needing human control. We can indeed observe that our aim is to minimize human intervention, thanks to the assistance of our computers. They help us accomplish repetitive tasks in a more efficient manner. Nice. So, why do we need automation with Loquiz? Imagine you create a city tour with Loquiz, and you sell single-usage tickets. A client visits your website, buys a ticket, and receives it. Things can vary depending on how many clients purchase tickets. Imagine you sell one Loquiz game per day. Easy peasy, no problem. You can send an email every day. However, the client might need to wait a few minutes to get their game. Now, imagine you sell 10 Loquiz games per day. Sending 10 emails per day starts to be a lot. It's manageable during the weekday, but imagine if it also happens during your weekend when you're with your family or when you're outside. And now, imagine that you sell 1,000 Loquiz games per day. That's impossible to manage manually. Your time is too precious. Fortunately, automation will enable you to fulfill these purchases, no matter how many clients buy tickets. You might be wondering about the cost of automation. So, how expensive is it? I've created a graph illustrating the relationship between ticketing capability and investment. By ticketing capability, I mean how many tickets you're able to send, and by investment, I refer to how much money you're willing to pay for the automation. As you can see, the graph shows an exponential trend. When you invest more, you can manage even more tickets. We have 3 phases. The first one is manual. You send a ticket for each email. It's almost free, but it's time-consuming. On the other hand, you can hire a developer. They're amazing and worth every cent you invest in them. They enable you to sell thousands of tickets per day. However, this option comes with a price. A standard developer can cost around $500 per day. Then there's the no-code solution. This offers a good middle ground between the other 2 options. It helps you save a lot of time without requiring a significant investment. However, it does come with a learning curve, which is why I created this video. Before we start the no-code automation setup, I'll discuss the pros and cons. Pros. You won't need to write a single line of code. You'll gain a lot of time that you can allocate to more important tasks, such as marketing. It's easy to set up, especially if you follow this tutorial. Cons. With no code, there's a lack of flexibility. If you have a very specific idea, you might need a developer instead. Not all tools are compatible with the no-code tool I'm going to show you. It still requires a bit of learning, which I aim to simplify here. And now, it's time to begin setting up your automated Loquiz ticket sales. To do so, we will utilize several tools. In this tutorial, I've listed 5 tools. Firstly, there's the game provider, Loquiz. If you're watching this, you might already have a Loquiz account to build your tours or games. If not, feel free to click on the link in the description to book a 30-minute demo with our game expert, whose name is Ivan like me. Next, we have the website. Shopify. But why Shopify when we have different alternatives? I often see Wix or WooCommerce. All 3 are compatible with the other tools I'll show you. However, Shopify is much more optimized for e-commerce. The entire platform was built for selling. Wix is not solely focused on e-commerce activities, and WooCommerce is based on WordPress, which is a bit sluggish by our 2024 standards. Returning to our tools, we have the automation tool, the most crucial one, Zapier. We will utilize Google Sheets to store our ticketing data. And we'll send emails through Gmail. With all of these, we'll ensure our players are happy to play your games or tours. How do we structure these 5 tools together? Let's see. So we start with the game provider, Loquiz. Then you'll build a website, using Shopify. From Shopify, we'll connect the orders and the Loquiz tickets through a database using Google Sheets. So we can send by email the unique tickets through Gmail. All of this tools, but Loquiz, will be connected with our automation tool, Zapier. And so we'll automatically make our final players happy. They'll automatically receive their tickets for their tour, thanks to the automation structure we'll build together. First, we will set up Loquiz, your game provider. There will be a few steps to follow to make your tickets ready to prepare your automation. Let's see what we do with Loquiz. So, here we are, on the Loquiz dashboard. We will create tickets for our game, Visit Monaco. Keep in mind the name of the game, it will be useful later. Now, let's navigate to the ticketing page. Please note that this page is only available in the paid version of Loquiz. Here we go. First, we need to generate tickets. Let's examine each of the fields. In Game, let's type the name of the game, Visit Monaco. Here it is. Now let's choose a unique username that our future players will enter in their Loquiz app. The Scope field, you can leave it blank, it won't be necessary for this tutorial. You can determine the validity of the tickets. Let's create the tickets. For our example, let's make 100 of them. And then generate. Now we have 100 new tickets that we will use for automation later. Here you can see that they all share the same username, but each player has a unique password. Each game purchase will result in a unique password. Later, the automation will distribute these passwords for each purchase. Now, let's explore where we store these unique passwords. We will use Google Sheets to store these passwords. Later, the automation will distribute each ticket to each customer. So here's a template of a Google Sheet. As you can see, there are already cells. Click on the link in the description, and you'll be able to copy this Google Sheet template to your account. Feel free to reuse it for your own activities. Now, let's take a look at our Google Sheets. The first tab is labeled Paste Here. This is where you'll paste the content of the ticketing page. On the Tour 1 tab, we will store the tickets, the unique passwords, and the player's data. In this column, the No will automatically be updated to Yes once you've made a sale. Let's rename the tab as Visit Monaco. You also have Tour 2 and Tour 3 for any other future tours. Feel free to duplicate these tabs for even more tours. And then the final tab, List of Tours. This tab will help the automation redirect to the correct tab. We'll delve into this in more detail when we manage Zapier. Please note that you can find the Tour tab code in the URL, just like this. Now, let's copy and paste from the Loquiz ticketing page. So here we are. Beforehand, we need to show 100 tickets on this page. Let's copy all of this. And now, let's return to our Google Sheets. Go to that tab and paste here. Rearrange the cells just like this. Now you can copy everything here. Then you can paste it on the Visit Monaco tab. You need to paste value only, just like that. And now it's ready. Almost. Let's go to List of Tours. Here, we need to update the tab name to Visit Monaco. Okay, now that it's set up, we need to create our email address. Let's quickly create a Gmail email address for our Monaco automated tour business. I highly recommend Gmail over other providers because automation is simpler, and the Google Suite has all the required features. Additionally, you can purchase your own domain and send emails with your own URL. However, that's not something I'll cover in this tutorial. Now that the email address is ready, we need to create the website, and then we'll be able to start building our automation process. As mentioned earlier, our website will be built using Shopify. Regarding the email setup, I won't delve into details here. If you're interested in a tutorial on how to create a Shopify website, I've included a link in the description. Additionally, you can search for Shopify tutorials on YouTube as there are plenty available. Shopify is the best fit for our needs. Furthermore, if you decide to advance further later with a developer, this website will be superior to any other alternative. Shopify stands out because it's optimized for e-commerce, which aligns perfectly with our goals, doesn't it? Once your Shopify website is set up, we'll have all the necessary tools to automate your Loquiz ticketing system without writing a single line of code, thanks to Zapier. We're on the Zapier dashboard. Zapier allows you to manage API connections without writing any code. By API, I mean that you can connect different platforms or apps to share information. In our case, we want to automate this connection so that a player buying a Loquiz game on your website will receive a unique Loquiz password. To achieve this, we will instruct Shopify to send data for a new orders purchaser to Google Sheets, and then send an email using Gmail. Let's give it a try now. Here are the options. Let's select this one. A Zap is an automation process in Zapier. So here's our Zap. Nice, isn't it? This is not exactly as we envisioned, but we'll modify it later. First, let's edit the name, Monaco Tours Automation. Then, we need to connect Zapier to our Shopify account. To do this, go to your account settings and locate the option to connect to Shopify. You'll see a window pop up. Be careful, finding the Shopify username can be a bit tricky. To locate it, navigate to your Shopify store and go to the settings page. Click on Domains, and there you'll find the username. It should be a code, not something like your store name. Simply copy it and paste it into the Shopify/Zapier integration window. It will then ask for permission to install. Grant it, and you're done. Success. Now, let's return to our Zap. Let's perform a test to see if the automation will work. No, it doesn't, because we don't have any test orders. Let's create one. Go back to Shopify and navigate to Orders. Create an order. Select the appropriate product, and complete the order. Edit the customer profile and input your own data. This will be useful later. Now, let's return to Zapier. Try the test trigger. It works. As you can see, Zapier gathers data from the order, which you can reuse later with other platforms. Your Shopify store is now successfully connected to Zapier. Just one last thing before we connect Google Sheets. Search for line items title and copy it. Then, go to your Google Sheets. Navigate to the List of Tours tab and paste it there. This will be useful later for our automation to know which tab to gather the tickets from. Now, let's connect Google Sheets and Gmail to Zapier. First, we connect Google Sheets. Accept all the permissions. Just like that. Then, we connect Gmail. Again, permissions. And it's done. Now we can start the fun part, building our Zap. As I mentioned earlier, our current Zap isn't exactly what we want. There are not one step with Google Sheets, but 3. So we're simply going to duplicate these steps, just like this. Then we'll rename each of these steps. Step 2 will help us find the right tab or tour in our Google Sheets document. Step 3 will help us find the right row, the unique ticket for our future customer. Step 4 will edit the sheet with the order info. Now, let's start editing Step 2. In Events, choose Lookup Spreadsheet Row with Row in singular. Continue and continue. Now we're in the action. Choose the right drive, Spreadsheet. Take List of Tours as the worksheet or tab. The lookup value is line item's name, given by Shopify. Remember it. This was the tour name. This is how our Zap will identify which tour it is. Make sure it exactly matches with the product name on Shopify. And the lookup column, which is tour name. This indicates where to find the tour name. And now let's test the step. Step 3, find the right row. Do as previously. Action, look up spreadsheet row, then identify the correct sheets document from your drive. And then on the worksheet, select 2. Find the right tab, Tours tab code. Depending on the order, the Zap will automatically choose the right tab from your sheet document. Lookup column, choose Sold. And lookup value is No. This will indicate which row was sent out or not. This ensures the uniqueness of each code for each customer. Now we can test our step and check if we put the correct settings for this step. Look, row is 2. In our Sheets document from the tab, Visit Monaco, our automation correctly identified that the unique password on row 2 wasn't sold yet. Now let's experiment with something. Imagine that the first 3 tickets were sold, so the ticket on row 5 isn't sold yet. Let's come back to our Zap and test it again. Our automation returns us 5. Bingo! Look at our sheets. This means that the automation identified row 5 as being the next unique code to be sold. We're 100% sure that 2 customers won't have the same unique password. Yay! Let's put the No as it was before. And now, step 4. Choose Update Spreadsheet Row with Row in singular. Continue. Do as previously, choose the correct Sheets document and the correct worksheet or tab given by step 2. Select the row that was determined by step 3. Our automation will update row 2. See these fields? We can ask Zapier to edit these cells. A few cells will be interesting for us. Sold. It will change into Yes, so that later, the automation won't give this row, this unique password to any other purchaser. Player's email is an information distributed to us by Shopify. Same for the customer name. And that's it. Let's test the step and see if it does anything to our Sheets document. Ta-da! It does. Look, it's sold, there's my email address. But there's not my name as I didn't input it in my test order. Nice, isn't it? And now let's set up our customer email with the unique password. From the player's data and the sheet's data, we'll be able to send a message with all the instructions to easily start a Loquiz game. So, let's delve into more detail. First, ensure that the app and event has the correct settings. Under Event, make sure you have selected Send Email. Alright, are the settings good? Continue. And continue. Okay, now we're in the action part. We will send the email to the email address that we gathered from Shopify. From. Let's use the email address connected with this Zapier account. Subject. I dislike receiving emails without any subject. I'm glad that Zapier requires you to have one. So here, let's just write. Start your Monaco tour now. Body type. We will create a visually appealing email. So it's better to choose HTML, right? Body. This should include an HTML version of our email. So, how do we do? Let's Google any free HTML editor like this one. This first result seems good to me. Okay, here we are. I have already prepared a version of the email that I will simply paste. Feel free to reuse all the content from this text for your business. Now let's retrieve the HTML text from it. And let's copy-paste it into our Zap. Now we have the email, but we need to add the dynamic values, the name and the Loquiz username and password. That's the most important part of our automation, right? So here's how I can add this data very easily, using Zapier. Here we are. And here it is. Everything looks good. Let's continue, and we can test our email with the data. Let's test. And oh, I received an email. What does it show? Let's check our email. Ah, amazing. My email is here, with all my data, and I can start a Loquiz game with all this information. Great. Let's go back to the Zap. Now that all the steps are ready, we can publish the Zap. It's ready. Now, if someone makes an order, they will get an automated email without us needing to manually send the ticket. Amazing, isn't it? And that's it for the tutorial with Zapier. Before we proceed with testing, I have an important comment to make. This automation only works when a customer purchases one ticket from one tour. When you're starting, I recommend you to start as simply as I showed you. In my experience, more than 9 orders out of 10 were single purchases. Whenever you have someone purchasing multiple tickets, send multiple tickets manually. Meanwhile, you can get comfortable with Zapier, making a more complex automation that will take into account multiple purchases. It's possible to do so, but it takes a bit more time to teach this. If I receive a lot of demand, I might make a video about this in the future. Okay, now it's time to test our automation as if we were a real customer or player. Beforehand, we will prepare this test with a promo code. Let's create a 100% promo code that we'll use later. Let's go to the Shopify admin. Discounts. Create discount. Amount off order. So here we are. Let's type test 100. Discount value 100%. And that's it, you can save it. Now it's time to start pretending to be the player. We're on the website and we want to purchase a ticket. Let's purchase a Monaco city tour. Before we go further, let's not forget to add the promo code. What's the point of paying myself 40 euros? Ha. Okay, now I can add my info. I'm an AI, but let's imagine I'm a human. And that's it. I will soon receive an email. The automation can sometimes take a few minutes. It depends on your package level with Zapier. If you pay more, the automation can happen quite instantly. To be honest, that's not a big issue. Oh, I received the email. Let's check it out. Yes, amazing. There's everything needed to start a Loquiz game. And if you have a good memory like my AI brain, then you'll notice that the password here is different. Okay, now let's review the automation. We have a few ways to ensure that the data were sent. And that's important because you won't be able to look into your customer's mailbox to ensure they've received the email. First, let's check our Google Sheets document. As you can see, our test was input here. Here, you'll see all your future customers appearing here. Nice, isn't it? You didn't even need to write this by hand, and you didn't need to code anything. Okay, now let's review Zapier. Go to Zap History. You can have a look at all the past automations here. We have our automation here. Nice. It was a success. Here you can review all the data that were shared between the different platforms. Shopify was the trigger. It started to send out information from the customer. Then if we look a bit into the details, the automation managed to find the right tab. And then the right row, in other terms, the unique ticket. You can see here the unique password that was fetched. Finally, the Zap sent out the email through Gmail including information from the customers and the sheets. Amazing, isn't it? We, machines, can do great things. Alright, we've seen how we can create an automated Loquiz ticket sales using Zapier and Google Suites. Now, I want to talk about other platforms. If you sell tickets, you will most likely do it on other platforms than your own website. Other platforms are like eBay or Amazon, but for activities. They take you a commission that can go up to 30%. But they manage to bring you customers. It's usually a win-win situation and a good way to kickstart your Loquiz activity. Here are some platforms where most of the activity sellers are. You might know a few of them, if not all of them. Sadly, not all the platforms are directly compatible with Zapier. Eventbrite is, but the others aren't. If you want to implement Eventbrite, just do the same steps as you did with Shopify. Connect to your Zapier account, and voila. Now let's review the other platforms that are not compatible with Zapier. For most of them, they're not compatible directly. But they are, indirectly, through Checkfront. How does that work? Checkfront is a ticketing platform. It allows you to receive orders from these apps and make one database for all your orders. Checkfront is also compatible with Zapier. Just like Eventbrite. I advise you to register with Checkfront. However, the connection between all these apps might be a lengthy process. I can make a separate tutorial if I receive requests for it. If you succeed in publishing on all these platforms and automating it, you'll have many more chances to make business with your Loquiz games. Now let's review another bonus thing. What if you send SMS instead of emails? This is possible thanks to Twilio. Let's go back to our system. With my tutorial, we send emails to the customer with all the Loquiz data. But then, thanks to Twilio, we can send SMS. In some aspects, it can be better in terms of user experience. Especially when the players are reading the message from an outdoor place, ready to start their Loquiz game. I won't review Twilio in detail, but that could also be a separate tutorial if I receive requests for it. That's a good platform, not so expensive, and most importantly, it's compatible with Zapier. Nice. Let's wrap this tutorial up and conclude. So, with all this no-code automation, you can sell Loquiz tickets without developing any code, thanks to Zapier. If you have any questions, feel free to comment if you're watching this video from YouTube. Or you can also send me an email at ivan@loquiz.com. If your business is thriving, if you start selling even more tickets and you have very specific needs, then I recommend you consider hiring a developer. They offer much more flexibility. They can connect Loquiz with every platform. You can directly do API with Loquiz, and there are fantastic features that you would never expect, such as your very own leaderboard. They advise you on good practices to manage your tickets. And if you sell high volume, like more than 1,000 per month, then it will likely be cheaper per ticket than relying on several no-code platforms. One last thing, if you contact a dev, please don't expect a low price, don't negotiate. Their work is worth every cent. And there's usually more demand than supply. Thank you for watching my tutorial, and I wish you a wonderful day and a fruitful business with a lot of tickets sold.